And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday on Spreaker Radio, Roar, 1776 Radio, and MyCast Live Radio from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Also on 405 Media Radio every Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Time. And we're on the Pundit Press, PNN Talk Radio, and SHR Media Radio with the Conservative Syndicate Mondays and Fridays from 3:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific Time. In addition to countless terrestrial stations worldwide, please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Podomatic, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live each day simply by clicking on that little icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. And you can call into my show if you just want to comment or engage me in conversation about anything. Call directly into the studio at area code 909-545-6516. Again, that number, 909-545-6516. Now, on today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. Now, on today's show, we have a special segment with John Matthews, Joe Hakos, and me. We're going to do a simulcast on the Conservative Syndicate, and then we'll later have John Hanson, that little old wine drinker, and he'll be talking about food and wine. But you know what? Before that, I want you to stand by for news. But right now, I want you to know that 3:02 p.m. Pacific Time, it is currently 79 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what? We're going to give you an encapsulated version of the news so we can cover a lot of stuff, and then we'll get more in depth. But let's get right to it. The 10 things to know for today, Monday, your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that will be talked about all day today and tomorrow. First off is about Obama. The United States allies step up Islamic State fight. In a primetime address prompted by the deadly San Bernardino attacks carried out by a couple sympathetic to the extremists, the president says continued airstrikes and use of special forces will stop the militant group in Syria and Iraq. And what's complicating efforts to disrupt extremist attacks? The increasing number of women drawn to the Islamic State group's ideology makes it difficult for law enforcement to flag the prototypical recruit. And here's an AP poll for you. Religion, environment go hand in hand for some Americans. 7 in 10 members of a group referred to as religious Greens believe the environmental crisis is more serious than most people think, as an analysis shows. And Supreme Court looks anew at affirmative action in Texas. The court's hearing arguments for the second time in 3 years in the case of a white Texas woman who was rejected for admission at a University of Texas. And why tragic deaths of homeschooled kids rarely lead to new rules. Well, you know, opposition from the government-wary homeschooling community means it's unlikely state agencies will ramp up oversight. And who says latest tests show no cancer? Well, Jimmy Carter announces that MRI scans find no signs of cancer 4 months after he revealed the presence of lesions on his brain. Congratulations, Jimmy. I'm glad to hear it. And far right dominates the first round of French regional elections. The polling agency rejections provide a new boost for Marine Le Pen's anti-immigration strategy. And astronauts set to receive early Christmas delivery. Well, NASA sends a shipment of much-needed groceries and other supplies toward the International Space Station for the first time in months. The cupboard's getting bare. Well, George Lucas, Cicely Tyson, among the Kennedy Center honorees. The Star Wars director and the longtime star of stage and screen both received the nation's highest arts award, along with 4 others. And then finally, fantastic finishes helped shape the college football playoff. For Clemson, Alabama, Michigan State, and Oklahoma, season savings moments and turning points have brought them all to 2 wins away from the national championship. Well, you know what? Let's talk a little bit more in depth. And this is straight in from the FBI. They say that the killers had been radicalized for quite some time. You know, the couple who carried out the San Bernardino massacre had been radicalized for quite some time and had taken target practice at area gun ranges, in one case within days of the attack that killed 14 people, the FBI said today. In a chilling twist, authorities disclosed that a year before the rampage, Saeed Farouk's co-workers at the county health department underwent active shooter training in the very conference room where he and his wife opened fire on them last Wednesday. It was not immediately clear whether Farouk attended the autumn 2014 training session on how to react to a workplace gunman. County spokeswoman Felicia Cardoza said it was held for members of the department's environmental health division, where Farouk was a restaurant inspector. Well, today, one employee who had been in the room when Frank and Tashfeen Malik launched their attack on the holiday luncheon said colleagues tried to do just as they had been trained: find protection and stay quiet. Unfortunately, the room just didn't provide a whole lot of protection, said Corwin Porter, assistant county health director. Well, you can say that again. What a tragic end. You know, not so much for the 2 that perpetrated this, but for the 14 who were killed and the 21 who were injured. Well, right from Syria, 3 troops killed by U.S.-led strikes. U.S. blames Russia. Syria today accused the United States-led coalition of bombing an army camp in the eastern part of the country, killing 3 Syrian soldiers and wounding 13. But a senior U.S. military official said the Pentagon is certain the strike was from a Russian warplane. The dispute over the deadly airstrike underscored the increasingly chaotic skies over Syria as various powers hit targets in the war-ravaged country. The U.S.-led alliance began its airstrikes in Syria in September of 2014, while Russia's air campaign began a year later. In a letter to the United Nations, the government of Damascus said 4 aircraft from the coalition targeted the army camp in the eastern city of Deir el-Zawar on Sunday night. In addition to the casualties among the troops, it said the attack destroyed armored and other vehicles and a weapons and ammunition depot. This hampers efforts to combat terrorism and proves once again that this coalition lacks seriousness and credibility to effectively fight terrorism, according to the letter, which was published in Syrian state media. The government refers to all those fighting to overthrow President Bashar Assad as terrorists. Yep, I guess. What else would they say? Well, don't go away, because when we come back, we're going to talk to you about a Chicago police probe that was announced. No charges in the second shooting, and I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. So please don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news. In this write-up, Chicago police probe announced no charges in the second shooting. A Chicago police officer will not be charged in the shooting of a 25-year-old black man who authorities said was armed with a gun as he ran away from officers, prosecutors announced today. The same day, the federal government opened an investigation into patterns of racial disparity in the use of force by Chicago police. The Justice Department investigation, announced by Attorney General Loretta Lynch, comes nearly 2 weeks after the release of a video showing a white Chicago police officer shooting a black teenager 16 times. The investigation, which is separate from an existing federal investigation into last year's shooting death of 17-year-old Laquan McDonald, will also review how the department disciplines officers and handles misconduct accusations. Justice Department officials say they use such patterns and practices investigations to identify systemic failings in the troubled police departments and to improve trust between police and the communities that they serve. Well, you know what? The more bad news we get, the more trust needs to be reestablished, don't you think? That's how I feel about it. Well, here we go again. Trump calls for complete shutdown on Muslims entering the United States. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump called today for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States, an idea that prompted one of his rivals to call him unhinged. The proposed ban would apply to immigrants and visitors alike, a sweeping prohibition affecting all adherents of Islam who want to come to the United States. The idea also raised immediate questions about whether it could pass muster under constitutional protections of the free exercise of religion. Trump's campaign said in a statement such a ban should stand until our country's representatives can figure out what is going on. Well, one thing's for sure, our country's representatives can't figure out what's going on. The statement added that Trump's proposal comes in response to a level of hatred among large segments of the Muslim population toward Americans. You know what? It's all politics. Why can't they get real? Why can't they do something about this? I know we have the ability. I just don't understand why it's not being done. Well, a study sees a possible dip in world carbon dioxide emissions. Global carbon dioxide emissions may be dropping ever so slightly this year, spurred by a dramatic plunge in Chinese pollution, according to a surprising new study released today. The unexpected dip could either be a temporary blip or true hope that the world's about to turn the corner on carbon pollution as climate talks continue in Paris, said the study's authors, a scientific team that regularly tracks heat-trapping pollution. One skeptical scientist offered a $10,000 bet that world world emissions will keep rising despite the findings, which were published on the same day that Beijing issued its first ever red alert for smog, urging schools to close and invoking restrictions on factories and traffic. Still, some leaders cheered the study published in the journal Nature Climate Change. That shouldn't tell us that we don't need to do anything, but that shows there is action, Janice Pastor, the United Nations Assistant Secretary General for Climate Change, told the Associated Press. Things are going in the right direction. All we need is a strong agreement. Well, fat chance of that, I'm thinking. How about this? Republicans assail Obama on ISIS despite similarities. Minutes after a solemn President Barack Obama spelled out his plans to protect Americans from terrorism, Marco Rubio declared that he may have made things worse. Jeb Bush called the president weak in his approach business as usual, and Donald Trump declared on Twitter, "We need a new president. Fast." Yet, beneath their harsh rhetoric lies a fundamental political reality. Few in the Republican Party's 2016 class would break significantly with the Democratic president's approach to combating the Islamic State group. The avalanche of Republican criticisms that continued today focused on the president's tone, his word choice, and the fine points of his plans, not, in most cases, the specific policy prescriptions that he presented in his address from the Oval Office Sunday night. Well, you know what? We'll see what happens. Everybody's going to be critical because everybody's running for that office. They want to inhabit that office. Sure they do. Well, Fox suspends 2 analysts for language against Obama. 2 Fox News contributors were suspended today for using inappropriate language about President Barack Obama while discussing his speech on terrorism the night before in 2 separate episodes. The analysts, former U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters and actress Stacey Dash, were each ordered off the air for 2 weeks. Peters were appearing on a Fox Business Network program hosted by Stuart Varney when he was asked his reaction to the president's speech. He didn't like it. "This guy is such a total pussy, it's stunning," Peters said. After he spoke some more, Varney said that while he could tell Peters was super angry, he shouldn't use such language. Dash, who appeared in the movie Clueless and has been a Fox contributor since 2014, said on Fox News Channel's noontime program, outnumbered, that Obama's speech was an epic fail and followed up with an obscenity. "I felt like he could give a something, excuse me, like he could care less." Bill Shine, Senior Executive Vice President of Programming at Fox, said, "In both cases, the language was completely inappropriate and unacceptable for our air." Well, it's about time Fox did something reasonable, and that certainly was one of those cases. And finally, in the Kimmy baby's name is Saint West. Well, and the baby's du jour's name is Saint West. Kim Kardashian West and hubby Kanye announced the name of their new baby boy via Twitter and her app. North's sibling was born Saturday, weighing in at 8 pounds, 1 ounce. Saint is in fine company. His cousins include Rain Ashton Disick. Kardashian West has tracked her pregnancy online for her 37 million Twitter followers, posting an image late Friday of her bare belly with the caption, "Ready whenever you are." Lots of laughs. North was born in 2013. Well, don't go away, because when we come back, I'm going to do the IRS loses. The first case up is no penalty for an honest mistake. And I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Please don't go away. We'll be right back. You'll love this.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh, yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. And let's get right to it. First case up is no penalty for an honest mistake. And here's the case. George Savoda exercised stock options to receive $75,000 of income that was taxable as wages, but he didn't understand the tax law and reported it as tax-favored capital gain. Now, when the IRS increased his tax bill, it added a 20% penalty. He protested with the tax court. This is what the judge said. Mr. Savoda's mistaken reporting of the income resulted from an honest misunderstanding of the law that is reasonable in light of his experience, knowledge, and education. Since there was reasonable cause explaining his good faith error, the penalty is lifted. Now, think about it. 20% penalty on that $75,000? Yeah, $15,000 he saved. Thank you, Mr. Justice. Well, how about this? The IRS loses. They cannot collect non-payment penalties when no return was ever filed. Wait till you hear this. Charles Wheeler didn't file a tax return to report his retirement income of more than $40,000. Now, the IRS assessed tax that he filed a case in, and so he filed a case in tax court, and the court decided the amount of tax that he owed. The IRS then sought penalties for non-payment of the tax and of estimated taxes. This is what the judge said. The non-payment of tax penalty is based on the amount of tax due as shown on the return, but Wheeler had not filed a return, and the IRS hadn't filed a substitute return for him. Similarly, the minimum estimated tax payments due are based on the prior year's return, but the IRS hadn't put one into evidence, so the penalties cannot be collected. You know what? The IRS just continually tries to make their own rules. Yeah, here's another one for you. The IRS loses. A 6-hour layover makes away from home expenses deductible. Here's the case. A ferry captain on Puget Sound, Washington, worked 17-hour days on runs completed within 24 hours that included a 6-hour layover at an away-from-home port. He paid for his own meals and deducted them and other costs as away-from-home travel expenses. But the IRS disallowed the deduction, saying he was never away from home. He had used no premises or hotel room in the distant port, but only slept on the boat when necessary. This is what the judge said. The captain did sleep during the layovers, and the need to sleep on a trip is a test of being away from home for tax purposes. The fact that he slept on the boat didn't matter. So, the captain, he qualifies. Makes sense to me. Here's a case here that the IRS conceded. Now, you know they only concede when they're pretty sure that they can't prevail in court. Let me tell you a little bit about it. An auditor can consider unfiled form to shift exemption for a child of divorced parents. Here's the case. When divorced parents have a child, the non-custodial parent cannot claim a dependency exemption for the child unless the parent with custody signs IRS Form 8332. That's release of claim to exemption of a child of divorced or separated parents, or a similar statement to that effect. Now, IRS regulations then require that this form be attached to the return of the non-custodial parent who claims the exemption. The IRS's legal opinion? When parents dispute who gets the exemption, an auditor can consider a signed Form 8332 even if it wasn't properly attached to a return as evidence of who should get the exemption on their merits, with the non-custodial parent remaining eligible. So, that just makes sense, right? It's what's fair, it's what's right, it's what's equitable, it's what's honest. Well, you've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff. Well, that's where we're at right now with this segment we call Inside the IRS. Oh, yeah. Now, here's the deal here. These are not tax court cases, but these have set a precedent. And so you can actually use this information in your own defense when you're trying to plan what you're going to be doing when it comes to the IRS. So that's what you want to keep in mind here. First up, here's the thing. Deducting medical expenses even if you are not sick. Here's the thing. Under IRS rules, a deduction will be allowed for an expense paid for the diagnosis, cure, mitigation, treatment, or prevention of disease for the purpose of affecting any structure or function of the body. Now, what about a pregnancy test? The IRS ruled already that the amount paid for a pregnancy test qualifies as an expense for medical care since it affects the function of the body. Also deductible, although not part of a revenue ruling, whirlpool baths prescribed by a physician and a mattress bought specifically to alleviate arthritic conditions are also deductible. So kind of keep that in mind as you move along. And again, just let your mind wander. There's a lot of places you can go with that. How about this? What the IRS lawyers are saying to each other and to the field officers these days. Until overturned by the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia, the chief counsel of the IRS took the position that emails containing legal advice drafted by an IRS lawyer, even though they took very little time to prepare, less than 2 hours actually, should be treated the same as telephone conversations and were therefore not required to be publicly disclosed. The current rule, IRS attorneys are required to copy all emailed legal advice to a special electronic inbox from which they are to be released consistent with the usual disclosure laws. So keep that in mind as you're doing things around this country. You best believe it. Now, do not go away. When we come back from these brief messages, we're going to do our simulcast with John Matthews and Joe Hakos. I can't wait. So don't go away. We'll be right back, folks, after these brief messages with John Matthews, Joe Hakos, and the Conservative Syndicate.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the basement of his strategic planning room located at his political hideaway in Los Angeles County, the dedicated man who stands and serves the political conscience of our nation, Mr. John Matthews.
Okay, and I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're going to be doing a simulcast with John Matthews and Joe Hakos in about 53 seconds now. And, we do that every Monday and Friday. And, it's just an exciting time for us. When you think about a simulcast and all of the stations that are involved, this is an exciting process for us. So we're going to be talking, hopefully Joe Hakos will be with us. He was on vacation last week. But certainly certainly John is going to be with us, and they'll be calling in here in just about 30 seconds now. The toughest part for us in these things is to try and get the timing right. Now, I will tell you that at 3:34 p.m. Pacific time, it's currently still 79 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, we're just about 15 seconds away, and I'm just sitting here waiting for their signal to come through. When it does, we'll go live with them right away, and I'm just anxious to get there and get that done. And it should be happening, like I say, just about any moment now. And I'm not real sure what to say. I do think that John and Joe and I will probably be talking a little bit about Obama's speech on Sunday, and hopefully they'll get to us and get that cooking for us. Usually, I think sometimes there's some confusion about who's going to open the line to who, whether it's going to be me to John or John to me, or what's going on there. And basically, maybe, you never know. Sometimes he may have gone to a commercial break a little bit late, and so he's running a little bit late on his simulcasting. But there he is right now. And so we're with John Matthews and Joe Hakos and the Conservative Syndicate. Hey, John, how you doing, buddy?
All right. We were just beginning to wonder if you were going to pick up your phone.
Absolutely. It was the first time. It only rang twice.
Okay.
I would never not pick up the phone. Matter of fact, I was thinking about, since we're running about a minute late, I was thinking, God, do you think he forgot me?
I'm sorry, say that again?
I said, since we're running about a minute late, I was thinking maybe you guys forgot me.
Oh, no. We probably ran about 30 seconds longer on the commercials than we normally do, just because sometimes it happens that way.
Oh, so, listen, I was explaining it. I had the same issues go on my side. Hey, listen, did you listen to that national talk that took place Sunday night? I'm not even sure why they had to interrupt my evening's television with no new news.
I hadn't even thought about that mostly because I watch Filipino TV. So.
You're going on the list, Bob. Right now, you're on the list.
I hope I'm on the good list. I can't be on the naughty list because we haven't got that long before Christmas. I got to be on the good list.
Well, we were talking briefly about it here on our show just when we came over to you, and I think for the most part. Most of it was very predictable, as is everything that this guy does. It was just pretty much more of the same, but there were a few nuggets that we pulled out of there.
Oh, John, there were no nuggets. There were just nothing but lead balls coming out of there. There was nothing really new or anything committed, nothing that made me feel safer or more secure. In I don't know, what was he on there, 10 minutes, 15 minutes? It was just so much BS.
Well, I know. That's why we issued our Obama BS bingo cards. We put a bingo card out there and said you can play along, and it has all the cliches, all the things that Obama says in every single speech, and you play it, and the first one, to get them all the dots connected wins. You don't win anything because Obama doesn't really have anything to give. So.
Boy, that's for sure. I gotta tell you. Well, you know what? At least he said it was terrorism in San Bernardino.
Well, that's one of the nuggets here.
But I think he was kind of caught between a rock and a hard place because the FBI came out and said that not only were these guys radicalized for a long time, they had even just a couple of weeks prior to this whole event gone out target practice shooting, and then he even participated in an emergency thing with his staff, what to do if they had actually been infiltrated by terrorists, what they should do, and of course there was nothing they could do. There was no place to hide, right?
It's a gun-free zone. Of course there's no place to hide, Bob.
Gun-free.
That's the beauty of a gun-free zone is you're just there. It's just like shooting fish in a barrel, Bob.
Boy, you got that again, Joe. Somebody had a waiver, though.
Well, the whole thing is, it's funny when you go to buildings like this and you see signs hanging out the side that, says no weapons allowed. and that's a great deterrent for somebody to say, hell bent on killing people. Oh, geez, I can't bring my weapon into this building.
Yeah.
It's as ridiculous as saying, well, if we had more regulations and more rules, we might have stopped something like this. You know, one of the things that's coming out about the guns, and I don't know how this is going to play out at this particular point in time, or how the left is going to use it once the facts come out. But we now know apparently that these guns that these people had were not purchased by them, was purchased by their neighbor.
Yeah, legally purchased, but by their neighbor. You're absolutely right. And then the FBI raided the neighbor, took him in for questioning, and didn't find that he had done anything wrong other than to provide these weapons that killed, 19 people and wounded 21.
Well, I think, in my opinion, what is a bigger concern right now is, I really expected Obama's speech to be more about gun safety measures than ISIS or anything else, and for the most part, that turned out to be true. But the idea that he was, there were things that he did here or said here that up until this speech were being portrayed as something else. First of all, his grouping of the Fort Hood shooter as a terrorist, whereas before there was always workplace violence.
Yeah.
But what he did, by him being able to now interject the term terrorist, see, ISIS has given him his out. ISIS has allowed him now to use the word terrorist without referring to Islam.
Yeah.
And that's always been the deterrent. It's like you can't say one without thinking about the other. But now it's like, well, in fact, I was cracking up this morning. I was listening to Hillary Clinton talking to her former employee, George Stephanopoulos, about the situation. And he asked her outright, well, what's the big deal? Why can't you call it Islamic radicalism and this kind of stuff? And she says, well, when people take religion and they distort it and use it to pervert and to accomplish another agenda, well, that's extremism and that's radicalism, but you can't blame the religion. Well, as she's saying that, I'm thinking, well, here we're talking about a Methodist who thinks it's okay to kill babies.
Yeah, but you know what, and you make a point. Yeah, and you make a point that I wanted to make too. Everybody keeps talking, John, about gun control, and we don't really need gun control. We need people control. When the people we're letting have guns just makes no sense at all. Even just using as an example, you've heard all the controversy about this no-fly list, and proposing that people that are on the no-fly list ought to be on the no-buy list as well. And you hear a lot of these legislators, these idiots, saying, well, a lot of them are there in error, right? Well, that's okay. They're on error, but when they correct the error, then let them go buy their guns. In the meantime, what's the big deal? You don't let them have a gun until they get off that list. And then I heard today, John, there's something like 200,000 people on that list that don't belong on the list.
Well, the dirty secret is that most of the people on that list, believe it or not, are Americans. They're not foreign entities. And getting on the list...
John, the guy that shot these 14 people was a United States citizen born in this country.
I'm sorry?
The guy that killed the 14 people in San Bernardino and wounded 21 was an American-born U.S. citizen.
Well, yeah, he was a U.S. citizen, but that's not the point I'm driving at here.
He's a dead terrorist now.
What did you say, Joe?
I'm sorry, say it again.
He's a dead terrorist now. I don't care where he was born.
Yeah. But the most of the people we were, in fact, when we get off your show today, we're going to be talking more about how you get on a no-fly list. How do you get on this watch list? And it's really easy to get on this watch list. Somebody in the government decides that you're somebody that needs to be looked at.
Yeah.
And there's no requirement, no corroboration. It's just somebody suspects something.
John, it's easy to get on, but it's horrible to try and get off.
Yeah, it's like trying to get an appointment with an IRS agent after you've been notified you're going to be audited.
Well, you know what? I don't even want to go there because getting a hold of an IRS agent today is impossible. Number one, if you call them, they hang up on you, or they put you on hold for 45 minutes, and then they hang up on you, or they tell you, no, you got the wrong place, I'm going to transfer you, and then they hang up on you. Getting anything from the IRS other than a levy is near impossible.
Well, I had the misfortune of getting audited about 24 years ago. And you make an appointment when you finally get an agent on the phone. You make an appointment, you show up in the building. You can't even get into the building without getting, you got to hit the buzzer, and they got to clear who you are and everything else. And 6 months later, when I went back to get everything, finished, we got through the audit and everything else, got everything fixed. And I went back, and the building had been moved. They randomly move the IRS locations because they know that people want to blow them up.
So here's the deal, John. They have all of this security so you can't get in there, and then they move overnight so you can't find them because their reputation has preceded them.
Yeah. But we got to go to a break on this side, so we're going to do that, and then we'll be back with Bob Cardoza over at Robert Cardoza Live, where we're guests.
And we're going for our commercial break. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino.
And I'm back. We're with John Matthews and Joe Hakos at the Conservative Syndicate. Boy, perfect timing, John.
Oh, good. Well, we did something right today.
Well, you know what? I was thinking, I am so tired. This is just Monday. I don't want to have my whole day ruined or whole week ruined. I don't want to talk about Obama anymore. I want to talk about the new horse race with the Republican Party. It looks like it's going to be Ted Cruz and Donald Trump head-to-head here.
Well, I don't know. I think I've been saying from the get-go, and I'm going to stick with it here. Obviously, I'm very much a Ted Cruz fan, and I really believe that he is running perhaps the best campaign. Second, him and Rubio are both running good campaigns. They're hanging on to their numbers. They're not too much out there in the media. They're not too much off the radar. They're just plugging along. They pick up 1 or 2 points every week. I understand in Iowa today, I think Cruz is actually ahead of Trump. So
well, Cruz picked up 8 points today.
I'm sorry?
Cruz picked up 8 points today.
Yeah, and it's because Cruz really does a very good job of articulating the conservative message. And when people give him the time to listen to him, it makes a lot of sense. And it's just, when you got all the other stuff going on, I still find it kind of remarkable that when things happen like the speech yesterday and some of the things that happened in San Bernardino last week and stuff like that, mainstream media is still trying to interview Jeb Bush. At this point, who the hell cares what Jeb Bush thinks?
The guy's got 3 points in the poll, right? What I don't even understand why his money guys haven't deserted him yet.
Because they're invested. They have to have him there.
Oh, Joe. I mean, that's like pouring good money after bad, right?
They don't care, Bob. They don't care if they win or lose the election, Bob.
Ugh.
They want their power. That's all they care about. We talked about this before. They could care less if it's Jeb Bush. They know they're going to lose. They know they're going to lose the White House again, but they do not care.
Yeah, I got to tell you what, this is exciting. Watching, and I make no secret about it. I like Donald Trump, but I'm liking Ted Cruz too. The more I listen to him, that guy is one really, really intelligent man. I can't say I agree with everything he talks about, but I don't agree with everything that Trump talks about either. The biggest problem I get with Trump is he's going to make everything better, but he refuses to tell us how. At least I get some kind of logic out of Ted Cruz.
Well, I think that Joe hit on a very important point here that we really need to understand, and the reason why Ted Cruz in a lot of ways comes under attack, because Cruz can not only articulate to you what the message is, he can explain and define what the other side is saying. He's very good at saying, well, this is what they're actually saying. He's a master of liberal doublespeak.
Yeah.
Donald Trump, on the other hand, is just somebody who just is going to continue his message. When you have people criticizing or critiquing Obama's speech yesterday, what does Trump come out and say? Oh, what Muslim sports heroes are we talking about? Trump just goes for the jugular. He goes for the emotional boom, shock and awe kind of thing. Cruz is one of these guys who sits back and just says, okay, this is what they really said, and this is why our side is better. And when people, like I said, they give him the time, and it's becoming more and more that he is getting the time, because actually I believe Trump is just becoming very boring.
Well, but you know what, John, you and I, and Joe too, we all said this months ago, when we thought that Ted Cruz was just kind of going nowhere, and then he just started trailing. But remember, he would never do anything to antagonize Trump. And he didn't do much to antagonize Rubio either. He was really smart. He sat back there and waited for these guys to start losing, their following, and the only place for these people to go was to Cruz, and that's exactly what's happening. All of these guys are losing points, and they're all going to Cruz. The points that Jeb Bush are losing, they're going to Cruz.
Well, that's what most would say. The other thing to worry about for Republicans is the fact is, as Cruz said, if you go with the amnesty Democrats, you're going to lose. Republicans will lose. And that would be the Rubio factor in this. So they can't get John's favorite candidate, Jeb exclamation point. They're going to go with the next best thing, which is Rubio, which would make John's head explode just as far, just might take a little bit longer.
Well, that's a little bit easier to clean up. Let's put it that way.
Well, let's just look into the future. Let's get your crystal ball all shined up a little bit, you guys, and let's assume that we get a Ted Cruz in the White House. What do you think the first thing he's going to do? Will he put boots on the ground? Will he actually get into a war that we're intending to win?
Well, I would say listen to what he says. He was just in Iowa talking over the weekend, and he said he's going to repeal all. He's going to just repeal. I don't know if that's the right word, but all those executive actions executive orders that Barack Obama has put in play, he's going to rescind them all.
Yeah, and that would be his first 100 days right there.
Yeah. Well, it would take him. It would take him, John. It would probably take him more than 100 days just to find the damn order, so he could stop them.
Well, Mr. Cruz also said he was going to defeat ISIS, and he said he doesn't know if sand glows in the dark, but he's willing to see.
I love that. You know what? We talked about that before too. I'm very quickly losing my sensitivity to collateral damage.
Well, when you hide yourself behind women and children,
Yeah.
that just shows you how much of a coward you are. And I'm sorry, those are refugees, but the guys that are pouring over the borders are not refugees. Those are men of fighting age that should be standing up and protecting those women and children.
Yes, absolutely. Let me ask you another question. You know, they're trying to cut off the money part, and they're getting $50 million a month worth of oil revenues, and they're bombing now the oil fields, and they're bombing the oil trucks and things. Those oil fields are on flat land, and there's only about 30 or 40,000 ISIS troops or members or combatants out there. I'm not sure I understand why we just don't take away the oil fields, keep that $50 million a day or a month coming into us. Why are we destroying those fields instead of just taking them over? It's flat land. We ought to be able to do that in a heartbeat.
Come on, John, you got this one.
Yeah, I got this one. The reason he doesn't do it is because it'll change the weather.
What?
That's exactly, he's already said it. They don't want to blow up the wells because they're afraid of how it's going to affect climate change. So we'll just blow up the 18 tankers that are flying away today, driving down the street today, while the other 18 are being filled up. But it's because of this issue, this idea that he thinks that Obama thinks that he is so good that he can regulate the sun. And, so it's just that. But that's the reason. You want to know why he's not doing it? Is because of the weather.
Well, did you see today's news that they're actually crediting China with this, that actual air pollution has actually come down a little bit, the global warming has actually come down a little bit, and they're crediting China with it because China's taking these aggressive stands on reducing their pollution.
Yeah, right.
That was on the Associated Press. I found that just before I went on the air today.
And last week they had a reporter from the BBC go on their television with a mask on because the smog was so bad.
Well, you know what else they did, Joe? The other thing they did was, I'm trying to think of this guy, Il Sung-un, whatever the heck his name is in North Korea. He now has set up a mandate that every man is required to sport a haircut similar to his.
Awesome, dude.
We ought to be able to tell who the enemy is now.
Well, I'll tell you what they should do. This is my plan. We take all those fans that are out here in Bakersfield and down in, all those huge fans that they use to generate electricity.
Yeah.
Well, they generate enough electricity to make a light bulb work. Mm-hmm. And we take all those fans and we put them in the desert outside of these oil wells, and then we blow the wells up and we turn the fans on and we point the fans towards China. China.
Well, and then we could blame China for the pollution anyway, right?
I'm thinking of a Bob Seger song right now, okay?
So listen, it's up to you guys, but it looks to me like you're out of time.
Yeah, we're out of time here. And just real quick here, you want to catch up with Joe and I, you can just visit us at theconservativesyndicate.net, and you'll find everything there you need to know about our show. Again, Bob, appreciate you having us on.
Hey, thank you. I'm loving this, guys. We got to figure out, actually the timing gets to be comedic around here, but I'm loving this segment of the show. So have a great week, guys, and we'll talk to you on Friday.
Okay, you take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay.
Now, don't go away. When we come back, we're going to be with our own John Hanson, that little old wine drinker. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:01 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 79 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in Southern California. Well, you talk about hot. My good buddy John Matthews is waiting in the wings. Let me get his intro going, and then we can talk to him for God knows how long. We'll be right back.
Who's a fool in the corner crying? I say, a little old wine drink of me.
And now, from the middle of a vineyard somewhere, a man who's never met a grape he couldn't cuddle up to, our resident advanced sommelier, John Hansen.
Hey, John, welcome aboard, buddy. How you doing?
Great, buddy. Happy holidays to you.
Oh, well, you know what? And the same to you and your lovely wife, Rena. Listen, are you calling me from sandy, dusty Victorville, or are you calling me from beautiful Anaheim?
I'm calling you from downtown Anaheim here, buddy. Yeah, last week was crazy for me. We finally got a renter in there, and I tell you, for the last, I don't know, month and a half, almost 2 months, I really haven't had a day off. Every free moment I was up there getting this house restored and getting it rentable. And the first, we had a new tenant in, and it was good fortune because I had to spend the whole day with my granddaughter too because my son had to do something. So I took her up there, and she was the kick of the crowd there. She was just incredible with the new tenant. It was just a ball, but at least I got that done. And this is my first week with a day off. So yesterday we went out and we got the tree. And what I've done all day today, Bob, was put up Christmas lights. I don't know what it is. Every year, it's like something changes. Nothing actually goes the way it was the year before. I mean, it's just crazy. I have to go out and buy a different strand, do this, do this. I mean, it takes like 2 days to put up Christmas lights now. It's just crazy. I don't know what's going on.
Well, you know what? It is so frustrating. You know, on our Christmas tree, we probably have somewhere around 1,500, 1,800 lights on it, right? And in every year, I go in there and I do this, and I put it all on. And it looks like everything's going to be working, and then all of a sudden something disconnects, right? You ever try to find one doggone disconnected cord in the middle of it? It is such a frustrating thing.
Oh my God!
Oh.
I get up early to get this done. I was trying to get it done because my little granddaughter and son's coming over, and we got the tree yesterday. So we put the tree up and we put the lights up and the girl up, and I promised her she can decorate it. So I don't know how it's going to come out when the 4-year-old's decorating your Christmas tree.
Hey, you know what? How could it be possible that a Christmas tree couldn't be perfect when you had somebody with so much excitement and so much love in their heart putting it together?
It is a love tree, Bob, I tell you. And the bulbs are going to stay exactly where she puts it. I don't care what it looks like.
So, you know what? So you got to be busier than heck about this time. We're knee deep into December, and you're at the restaurant's got to be really, really packed. And then but I was wondering, John, because this is your busiest time. It's got to be tough on you and Raina, because this is you make it, boy. In this month, you really, this is where you make hay while the sun shines, and so you lose a lot of opportunity with Avery and Zach and Raina. How do you accomplish that?
Well, yeah. You said right. You got to make the hay when the sun shines, and this is by far the busiest month. I mean, we have candlelight there at Disney, and it is crazy. I was talking to guests last weekend, and everything was at least a 2-hour wait for the ride, and it was strange. They were telling me it was like gridlock in Disney, where you were walking, all of a sudden you stopped, and there is just a mass of people, and nobody was moving. It was people gridlock at Disney, and it was just crazy. I mean, I don't know how enjoyable that is, but still, people still go. You know, we have what we call candlelight, and we have somebody famous. You know, it'd be like actually Gina Davis read it this weekend, but Kurt Russell usually does it. You know, and they read holiday stuff and they thrillers and everything. It's quite an evening. It's a lot of fun. And so everybody comes out for that, plus the regular crowd in Disney, and I mean, it is just crazy. And then all the Christmas parties are going on. So, I mean, every day we're sold out. I mean, to get a reservation at a restaurant, good luck, is just crazy. And this year, which really throws a wrench in the system, is that Christmas is on Friday. Yeah. And Friday and Saturday, the weekends are my busiest time. That's when I close the restaurant and everything. So this year is going to be kind of crazy.
Yeah,
I got to kind of figure out when Zach is going to have Avery, and we got to kind of plan our Christmas around that. But being Christmas on the weekend, it kind of throws a little dilemma in there too. So it's going to be a strange year.
So kind of celebrated on Sunday, your day off, right? Sunday or Monday?
Well, that's what it looks like, and it says Zach has Avery on Sunday and Monday too, and he did his schedule to kind of suit my schedule, so we would have the same days off, and that's when he has Avery as well. And so we'll probably, I don't know, he may have her for the day with his mom and so forth too. So they may come over. We'll do a small little Christmas thing quickly on Christmas Day before I go to work. We just have to work it out.
Yeah.
But, what are your plans for the holidays?
Well, before we do that, I wanted to ask you another question, and you may not even be able to answer it. I don't know. With Christmas being the way it is and all these people, I was wondering if the big shots, if there's any big shots that are able to actually reserve Club 33, the members, for their own party, or does Club 33 have its own function that you can reserve for?
Well, they have.
I mean, I'm talking about members. I have to preface this by letting people know that you can't just make a reservation at Club 33. You have to be a member to get in.
You have to be a member, of course, yes. But there's another room. When they did the remodeling, Club 33 has another room called Rue 21 or Street 21, and it's open only a couple days a week where they do a special menu. But that area is set aside where you can actually rent that area out too for members only, and Carthay Circle has a members only little lounge area too that of course the members for Club 33 get access to, and then you can also be a member of that little area as well. So there's private areas where you can. I'm sure it's first come first serve, and I'm sure every day is booked up there too. So yeah, it is just crazy around Disney at this time of year. And a lot of people, instead of just enjoying Christmas at home, go to the park and enjoy Christmas at Disney.
Well, that's what I was thinking, and I was thinking that I never can remember the name of there at the Pirates of the Caribbean, is it the Blue Lagoon or whatever the name?
Blue Bayou.
Blue Bayou. Yeah, I'm thinking that what a nice venue that would be for the Christmas time and things like that. So I'm sure a lot of people must go to Disney for that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the Blue Bayou's booked up for Christmas parties. I mean, from here out, every day we have a Christmas party in our private dining room as well.
Yeah.
And then we have smaller Christmas parties throughout the dining room for offices that have like maybe 10 people. They'll just do a party of 10 out there and do the Christmas party at Napa Rose.
Yeah.
But our private dining room sits up to 30-some people. And then we also accommodate larger parties where we actually go outside as long as the weather's accommodating.
Mm-hmm.
You can do a larger party where half the party will sit outside and half the party will be in the private dining room. And as I said, it is just...
Is that outside patio, is it accessible from that private dining room?
Yes, when you do book the private dining room, that is your patio. Nobody else can go out there. So yeah, when you book the private dining room, that includes the private patio on the side as well.
Oh, I didn't know that. So anyway, so it sounds like it's just really exciting. John, does this turn out to be just excruciating extra work for you, or is there enough excitement in the air and in the people that are showing up that it's actually a joy to work those days?
Well, I mean, it is hard work. You are really running, and it's exhausting. But I tell you, everybody's celebrating. Everybody's happy. It's their Christmas, and so I mean, you're on the happiest place on earth, and everybody's celebrating. So I enjoy it. And as I said, financially, it's the time of the year for me.
Sure.
So, as I said, we make great money. Everybody's happy and everybody's celebrating. We usually do, private parties as well. We go out to our CFO's house and do their big Christmas party out there, which is always nice, and they always really take care of us. So it's a great evening for money, but they treat it as, hey, this is your Christmas party too. So, I mean, they're pouring unbelievable wines, and it's like, did you try this? So we're throughout the evening, we're tasting, unbelievable wines.
Oh, I can see where you would just hate that, John.
Oh my God! And unfortunately, they had to cancel because Mr. Staggs is actually remodeling his house, so they're not going to have it at the house this year. So we have to wait till next year. So unfortunately, and that was, as I said, I always look forward to that because I really love the gentleman. He's always very generous on his wine allocation as well. And of course, we have to try it first since we're the advanced sommeliers there at Disney. He wants us to try it first before he sells it. Let his guests have it as well. So they're very generous that way, and it's a fun evening. Everybody has a great time, and we're up in Beverly Hills there, and I tell you, it is just a great event. And unfortunately, they couldn't do it this year because of remodeling, but I'm looking forward to it next year.
Yeah, that sounds magnificent, and that's something that Raina can go with you, right?
Well, no, because I'm working.
Oh, you're working the party. I misunderstood. Okay, you guys.
Myself to Mickey.
All of the advanced sommeliers are there working the party. You get to taste the wine before the guests do, which is a good deal. Do you get to snack on some of the magnificent food?
Well, yeah, the chef goes out there, of course, as well, and we get to enjoy a little food afterwards since we work it. Once the party's over, there's always a little extra food, and we enjoy a little of that before we pack everything up in the truck and go back home. So, it's a fun evening. We get to enjoy some incredible food, taste some incredible wines as well, and as I say, everybody's so nice over there as well. So, I mean, it's just a fun evening to do. It's a very profitable evening for me, and it's kind of like my little Christmas party. So I'm kind of sad that they're not going to do that this year, but there are so many other parties going on at the restaurants that it's fun. I mean, everybody's celebrating. It is the holidays. Everybody's having a great time, and it's profitable, but also a fun time for me as well.
And then right behind that, you've got New Year's. That'll be a good one for you too, right?
Well, of course, New Year's Eve is the number one day. We do the set menu, and it's an expensive evening. And I always have Raina come in, and she He has a little table with her friends as well, so I get to enjoy New Year's Eve, and also, work New Year's Eve. So it's kind of like having the best of both worlds.
So on Christmas, is Napa Rose open Christmas Day?
Napa Rose is open 365 days a year. And
so on Christmas Day, does the chef prepare a prefix menu, or is it still an open menu for people?
Yeah, it usually does a prefix menu. Christmas Eve is a regular menu, and Christmas Day is usually a set menu. Same thing with Thanksgiving; it's a set menu. He does a Christmas goose and so forth. And I tell you, he does one of the best goose dishes I've ever had, because it's fun. Because goose, believe it or not, Bob, is a tricky item. You can have the goose dry and still be greasy at the same time. Preparation. Goose is very hard to prepare. I mean, you got to really know what you're doing and do it right, as I said, because it's really a greasy fowl.
So do they brine? Do you brine a goose?
Oh yeah, he brines it. Yeah, of course he does. Yeah, he does brine it, and as I said, it's moist, it's tender, and the way he does it, it's not really that greasy. So it's a tradition there. It's been a tradition for 15 years. He always does the Christmas goose. I don't think it's really big on the West Coast, but on the East Coast, Christmas goose is a big thing. So.
Well, the original Christmas and Thanksgiving was goose, not turkey.
Exactly.
So that's kind of that sounds like a lot of fun, John. A lot of fun. So that sounds like you know what, your days are long, but if you have that kind of excitement going on, I would think that the days start and end before you know it.
Well, yeah, we're so busy, so where I actually hate going to work is when it's real slow, because time just drags and you're doing nothing.
Yeah.
Here you're so busy, time goes so fast, and everybody's having such a great time. Before you know it, it's like, oh, it's over, and as I said, you make great money, it goes quickly, everybody's happy, and you have a good time. So, this is my favorite time of the year as well. As I said, profitably, yes, but also you have a good time at work, because everybody's happy, everybody's celebrating, and as long as nothing goes wrong, it's a great evening.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun.
But what are you doing for the holidays?
Well, same old. We're having the entire family over to the house. We have 13 of us that kind of cuddle up to the big dining room table. We expand it, and we have our very best Austrian crystal out, and the best wines that I have, reds and whites, and we do a prime rib for Christmas. And so I'll do a prime rib with all decked out in the whole 9 yards. And then everybody just, I'll do a lot of appetizers. John, I'll have some, hot stuffed, mushroom stuffed with, crab, and I'll have, I'll also have some French scampi, and then I'll have some. I call it peel and eat shrimp, but it's already peeled. I don't want anybody to have to be peeling the dang shrimp, Right. So, and I'll have that. And I make my own cocktail sauce, because I like it a little spicy, and that'll be there. And then there'll be a cheese ball out there, and so lots of appetizers and things to enjoy. And then we'll have a special dessert. And what'll wind up happening when the family gets here, Marlene prepares the Christmas stockings. They're over our mantel place, over the fireplace in our family room, and but she buys so much stuff you could never get it into these big socks. So she lays the socks down so everybody knows what line is theirs, and they get to attack those socks before we go attack the gifts that are under the tree, and then after dinner we attack the gifts that are under the tree. Of course, the little kids are getting antsy. They no sooner sit down to dinner and the kids are saying, "We're done. Can we open the gifts now?" And we haven't even started. Yeah, so then we do that. The kids get to sort all the gifts for everybody. The adults sit down, and the kids pick the gifts under the tree, and they sort them out for everybody, and then we all take turns opening them while we're drinking our cocktails, of course. And that's what we do for Christmas.
Well, that's awesome.
Hey, so listen, we've got to take a short break, John. When we come back, let's talk about wine.
Oh, absolutely. It's Christmas parties, so we need to talk about wine, especially the bubbly.
All right, we'll be right back with my good buddy, John Hanson, that little old wine drinker. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to my good buddy John Hanson, that little old wine drinker. Hey, John, so we're talking about wine. And what do you got in mind for what do we got? We got 20...
Well, this is the season to celebrate, and of course, the number one wine or for celebration is sparkling or champagne. But Christmas parties are going on, and the past couple of weeks we talked about wine pairing with food, with cheese, and so forth, and then we also talked about the past weeks about where to go to get wine, and not to bring Temecula up, but Temecula for years we were trying to grow Chardonnay and Cabernet for so long, and Cabernet and Chardonnay don't grow good in Temecula. It's not the right region. So we talked about areas where certain varietals grow very well, and if you're looking for a certain varietal, here's where you want to go. But as I said, the ultimate celebration wine is sparkling wine or champagne. And there are a couple of... Do you know what the number one enemy of sparkling or champagne is? Bob, it is light. You don't want to. You do not want to induce your bottle of sparkling to any light.
Well, John, isn't that the same for reds and regular white wines too? I mean,
well, exactly. You don't want it light. Light is an enemy for any kind of wines, but especially for champagne because it does disperse the bubbles. Also, vibration does the same thing. So, if you have a wine cellar, you don't want to be near your entertainment room where you have like surround sound and you're watching these movies that's vibrating everything.
Yeah.
Or by maybe the front of the house where big trucks go by and vibrates, or by a railroad track where trains go by where you get a lot of vibration. So you want a steady area, a room that doesn't vibrate because that's the other enemy of sparkling wine. And you do not want light. Now there is one bottle of champagne that actually comes in a clear bottle, and the only reason why it does is because it's tradition. And that, of course, is one of my favorite champagnes, Cristal Roder.
Oh.
Now, Cristal, why it's in a clear bottle is just a little history behind it. That the Tsar of Russia, it was his favorite champagne, and he made them put in a clear bottle so he can see that it wasn't tampered with, because he was so fearful that somebody was going to put some poison in his champagne. He actually let, of course, one of his servants try it before. If they didn't die, then he would drink it. But it was a tradition, so Cristal still, to this day, is still in a clear bottle, believe it or not. But usually everything else, all the champagnes are going to be in the darker bottle, usually. But those two are the two enemies of sparkling wines or champagne. You don't want vibration or light.
So, John, when it comes to champagne, when do you refrain from riddling? There's got to be a point where you stop riddling, right?
Oh, riddling. Okay, we'll talk about riddling. Riddling is the process, and now they have what they call gyro palates that do the riddling before, but the riddler in a champagne house was the highest paid person in the house, believe it or not, because he had to turn a corner turn each day, and Madame Clicquot is the one who created riddling, where she turned her dining room table up and drilled holes in it and put her champagne bottles in it. And basically, riddling is where you just keep turning it where the dead yeast cells slowly go to the top of the bottle, and then you freeze it, and then the pressure of the champagne pops all those dead yeast cells out, and then you top it back off what they call a dosage. But that's just the process to make champagne, the riddling.
So once you get rid of that yeast, then you no longer riddle anymore, right?
No, it's done. Now you want the bottle to be perfectly stilled in a cool, dark area. Okay, that's just a process in making champagne, because basically champagne, it's higher acid, of course, because it creates a second fermentation in the bottle, and that's with fermentation CO2 is produced. So you're capturing that CO2 or bubbles in the bottle, and that's what's great about champagne. Now, there's many processes, and I'll quickly go through those, but what's great about champagne is the chalky soil there. That's what really makes champagne. Now, there's 301 krugs or villages in Champagne, and 17 Grand Krus. And I actually have a rating system. 100 points are Grand Krus, and after 17, then you have Premier Krugs and Krugs. And there's 40 Krug villages that get scored 90 to 99, which are Premier Krug, I'm sorry. And then 244 villages that are scored 80 to 89, which are just Krugs. Okay? So there's 5 regions in Champagne. You have Montagne de Reims, which is where all the main producers in, especially the Epinay area. But you also have Val de Marne. You have Côte de Blanc, Côte de Suzanne, and Côte de Bar, or the Aube, if you will. That are the 5 regions of France. Now, Champagne is governed by a body called CIVIC, and it is Comté Interpersonnel de Vin de Champagne, and that was founded back in 1941. Okay, there are, and we've been over this before, there's little, if you look at a champagne bottle, you may see CM, NM, RM, RC, or MA on the bottle. And what that means, CM means Coopérative de Manipulante, which means the co-op is making that champagne itself. NM is Négociant de Manipulante, which means the wine is sold under a name of the house which is made. RM, Recollant de Manipulante, the champagne is produced by a grower from his or her own grapes. Okay, RC is Recollant de Corporative, which means the grower is selling champagne produced by a co-op. Okay, and then MA is Marquis de Recollant, which is the champagne has been brought from a producer and then sold under another name. So when you see MA, it means that it was bought from somebody and then sold under another name. There are 3 methods of making champagne. Okay, you have method champenois, which is also known as the traditional method or the classic method. And that's where we were talking about riddling, where you do the second fermentation in the bottle. Now, you have the cheaper stocks. You can do the bulk process, which is real cheap with the plastic cork and so forth. And what they do, they just inject CO2 into the wine. So basically, they make a wine, they just inject CO2, so you get these big bubbles. And I don't know if you noticed, Bob, but if you go out and you drink a lot of this cheap champagne, you usually get a headache because all that CO2 bubbles are going through your head.
Yeah, you know what? I've been to some functions that you'd go to, and they're pouring champagne, and you're right, you get a headache.
Exactly. Now, there's another method where they actually make the sparkling wine in a big tank. Of course, a lot of the bubbles are released while they're bottling the wine. So what they do, they give another little shoot of CO2. So it's still fermented in a tank, but they give you a little ester spurt. So it's kind of like having some of the, and you're going to look and you see some smaller bubbles, some bigger bubbles. But the process you want is method champenois, traditional or classic method. And of course, that's going to be a little more expensive. Now, of course, you have vintage champagne and you have non-vintage champagne. And non-vintage champagne is awesome. What it is, they want a definite style that is there every single year, so you know exactly what you're getting.
It's almost like a blend.
It is. It is a blend. And it could be a blend up to 40 to 50 different blends, actually. And there's actually 3 producers out there that actually use neutral oak. So there's oak on champagne. It sounds weird, but it's neutral oak. Now, of course, there's Krug, Bollinger, and Alfred Grandpont. Only 3 producers that use oak. But for the non-vintage usually sits on the yeast for about 15 months. Now, of course, you have Krug, where they're non-vintage, which is called Grand Cuvée. That sits on the lees or the yeast for 6 years. And that is usually more than everybody else on their vintage champagne. So if you like a yeasty champagne, Krug is what you're going to look for. It is amazing. Now, there are other sparkling wines from France and, of course, from Italy. Our good friend Franco, Franciacorta. That's his favorite bubbly. But you and I mean, gosh, the time we had in Venice with the Prosecco.
Oh, yeah.
They're incredible sparkling wines from Italy as well. But there are other sparkling wines. You have Cremant de Limon. Okay, that's from the old. From the Loire Valley, you have Cremant de Loire. You have Cremant d'Alsace from Alsatian area. Cremant de Die is from Rome. And of course, Cremant de Bourgogne is from Burgundy. They do make sparkling wines other than just in France, of course. But, I mean, we're talking Italy, where we were talking about Prosecco and Franciacorta. Great alternatives, and usually much cheaper, especially much cheaper than Grand Cru champagne. Now, Spain, you also have Cava, and Cava is becoming very popular as well. It's not my personal favorite because you get that. It's kind of like a rubbly characteristic. It's like, I don't know if you've ever been studying for a test and also you put the eraser in your mouth and you get that taste.
Yes.
For me, I always get that in the Cava for some reason. So, I don't know. But another important, I know we're getting close to the ending of the segment, but another important...
You got 4 minutes, John.
Okay, great. You're going to see on the bottle, there's also on the bottle of sparkling, you may see Brut, extra sec, demi-sec, demi-dew, or dew-rich. And that's what residual sugar is in the wine. You got Natural, which is bone dry, and that's 0 to 6 grams of sugar. Brut, which is 1 to 1.5 grams of sugar, which is dry. You have extra sec, which is about 3% sec, which is about 5% sugar. Then you get into the sweet sparklers, demi-sec, which is 8, demi-dew, which is 10, and demi-rich, which could go upwards over 10.
So let me stop you there for just a second, John, because now we're talking about the labeling on the champagne, but when you're talking about Prosecco or other sparkling wines, how can you tell what you're getting there? Are they labeled the same way?
Well, Bouveret, and you have like a sparkling Bouveret, you have what they call Mouillel, which means sweeter. For Prosecco, it's usually just going to be a little more. It's not like bone dry or 1%. Prosecco is usually around closer to the 3% range in sugar. It's not a sweet wine, but you're going to get a little sweetness from it. Brancicollo is maybe just a little under that as well. They're not going to be. If you want a sweet wine from Italy, Asti Spumante. That's going to be up there, probably around 5% on the residual sugar.
Well, you know, it's interesting when I make Bellinis here at the house, I use Asti Spumante for that. Because I'll put the peach in there, and I'll also put a peach schnapps besides the peach in there.
Yeah, and that gives it even more sweetness. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. That I think that'd be a great alternative if you want to do a drink like that. Also, Chambord in sparkling wines. That raspberry flavor going. I like even Grand Marnier if you like that orange flavor.
Oh, I haven't done that. I'll bet that's good, huh?
Yo, Bob, I'm surprised you haven't because you are the Grand Marnier guy.
I love Grand Marnier, but I've never put it in I've never put it in champagne.
In 100-year-old Grand Marnier.
Yes.
But just briefly, there's also, of course, different bottle sizes. You have the Magnum, which is 1.5 liter, 2 bottles. Jeroboam, which is 3 liters of 4 bottles. You have a San Lazar, which is 9 liters or 12 bottles, Nebuchadnezzar, which is 15 liters or 20 bottles of champagne. And if you have a Nebuchadnezzar, what's fun, they take the sword and slice the top off.
And stand back, right? Because otherwise that thing is going to blow.
Oh, well, what happened, you do use, I mean, it does come up a little bit, and, you will lose a little bit of the bubbly one.
Well, but you want to anyway, because you want to make sure that it's blowing any residual glass or anything out of there, right?
Oh, yeah, and that's what it does. So when it's sliced, it's usually a clean cut because the sword is rather sharp, and it cuts it, but the champagne flowing out, if there's any glass residue will go with that, and then you'll be able to just pour, right after that. And it's a tradition. It's more of a show than anything.
Now, do they score the bottle a little bit just to ensure that comes off right, or do they just let the pressure inside do it?
It's kind of an art, though. You got to hit it right at the right spot. Like when we open Old Port, we have what we call port tongs, and what we do, we heat them up very hot, and we put it around the rim of the bottle, and then we take a cold wet rag and it quenches it and cracks it perfectly right where that hot tongue was, and just snaps off perfectly where you have a clean cut where there's no glass residue as well. Because the cork, you wouldn't be able to take the cork off the old bottle of port. It would just disintegrate because it's been there for, say it's a 100-year bottle of port. The cork would just disintegrate where you try to get it out. Then you're just going to get a bunch of cork all through your wine. So what we do, we have what we call port tongs, and you put it at the thing, and it just takes the cork right out, and you have a clean cut around the glass.
Well, John, we are out of time. Give us a champagne pick for the week.
Champagne pick of the week. Well, for the high-end thing, Salon is the ultimate. Salon's first vintage was back in 1905. There's only been 37 vintages. It has to be a banner year, but that's going to be very expensive. If you come across that and you have the money, it is probably the ultimate champagne. But I tell you, bargain for the money out there. Pierre Peter. It's about $40 a bottle. It's a Blanc de Blanc from France, and bang for the buck. This is my favorite champagne out there. Enjoy. Happy holidays, and we'll see you next week, buddy.
Sounds great. Have a great week, John. I look forward to talking to you on Monday, my friend. Now, do not go away. When we come back, we're going to be doing the birthdays for today, the secret daily teachings for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this. The Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:41 p.m. Pacific time. Still 79 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, it's on its way down to 51 degrees. But right now, you know what? It's time for our secret daily teaching for your life. And the management tip today is create a culture where people are open to feedback. The benefits of an open culture where frank, candid discussions about problems are possible are immense, but building an open culture is difficult. However, once you establish the practice of open feedback across the company, you'll likely find that it builds momentum very, very quickly. Leaders can set their organization on the path of having an open culture by modeling 3 behaviors, the first of which is showing appreciation. Overcome the negative connotation of feedback by recognizing your employees' good work too. Research suggests you should share positive feedback 3 times as often as negative feedback. And opening up. We all tend to respond to feedback by protecting ourselves, but building an open culture requires leaders to really listen to what people say to them. Demonstrate how to receive feedback without taking it personally. And then finally, getting the whole company involved. Silos create an us versus them mindset. Get other departments involved in decision making early and often. That is the Harvard Business Tip for today. Now, you know what today is. Sure you do. This is Monday, December the 7th, and it's somebody's birthday. Oh, yeah. Here we go. We've got some good ones here for you today. Today's the birthday of Tom Waits, and Tom was a composer and actor. Waits has a distinctive voice described by a critic as sounding like it was soaked in a vat of bourbon. Now, that doesn't sound too bad, does it? Well, here's a guy we all know, or probably so, especially if you're into sports. He was born in 1956. He's drafted into the NBA 6th overall by the Boston Celtics in 1978. Happy birthday, Larry Bird. And Terrell Owens, born in 1973, football wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills of the NFL, a 6-time Pro Bowl selection and holder of the league's single game reception award. And how about what happened today in history? Well, I can tell you that on today, December the 7th, in 1941, the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. And also today in 1787, Delaware becomes the first state to ratify the United States Constitution. And in 1982, in Texas, Charles Brooks Jr. becomes the very first person to be executed by lethal injection in the United States. And then finally, in 1999, the RIAA files a lawsuit against the Napster file sharing client on charges of copyright infringement. Yep, you got it. Well, the quote for today comes from the Dalai Lama, and he says, "Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions." Well, I'm guessing that that's an absolute fact. You know, what else would that be? Well, it is time, however, right now for our interesting but useless facts. Let's start off with this. Did you know the flavor we think of as bubble gum is a combination of wintergreen, vanilla, and cassia, a form of cinnamon? Isn't that interesting? Bubble gum. And who doesn't like that? Did you know the United States produces 19% of the world's trash? Yeah, there's something to think about, right? When you think about our quality of living, 19% of the world's trash. We don't have 19% of the world's population. We got a problem, right? Yeah, I think so. How about this? You know that humans are the only primates that do not have pigment in the palms of their hands. There's something interesting for you. Well, how about this? 40% of McDonald's profits, that's a hamburger company, right, comes from the sale of Happy Meals. 40%. Wow. That was a smart move. Whoever came up with that, huh? I would say. Hey, the Galapagos tortoise has the longest lifespan of any animal, up to 200 years. Wow. Isn't that interesting? Did you know in 1930, the heaviest a female flight attendant could be was 115 pounds. They also had to be unmarried nurses. Give that some thought. There you go, right? Absolutely. Let's see here. How about this? You know that the world's largest alphabet is Cambodian with 74 letters in it. So you want to learn a new language, that's probably not the one, I'm thinking. Did you know that cats, meow, cats cannot taste sweet things? But they love milk. I guess, that's interesting. Did you know that every hour 1 billion cells in the body must be replaced? Every single hour. Now there is a miracle if you ever thought of one, right? Wow. You know, the first product to have a barcode was Wrigley's chewing gum. Yeah, isn't that cool to know that? Did you know that Wrigley actually has a mansion up on Santa Catalina Island, just off the coast of California here, and he owned that entire island, and it's a beautiful place to visit. Our own Suzette Mailer and her husband Ray go there quite often for weekends, and they love it out there. It's a beautiful place to go and visit. It's just 21 miles across the sea, or 26 miles across the sea, something like that. Famous song. Did you know 80% of the world's food crops are pollinated by insects? Isn't that interesting? 80%. And so you want to use insecticides? Somehow that's not making a lot of sense to me. We'll have to ask our own Sean Lefebvre about that tomorrow. Did you know that all the platinum ever mined would fit into an acreage-sized living room? Or an average. I said acreage, I meant average. All the platinum ever mined would fit into an average-sized living room. Isn't that amazing? You would have thought a lot more, huh? Sure. Did you know China manufactures 70% of the world's toys? Boy, tell me that's not a good company to have, right? And then let me leave you with this one. The domestic cat is the only species able to hold its tail vertically while walking. Wild cats hold their tail horizontally or tucked between their legs while walking. I bet you just couldn't hardly wait to know that, huh? Absolutely. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, I'm going to answer your emails. And the first email that I have comes from Nathan Casillas from Linden, New Jersey. He's asking about being a non-custodial parent. I'll answer his question right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live, and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses: website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:53 p.m. Pacific time. Still 79 degrees, just kind of hugging in there, right? On its way to 51 degrees in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, we're coming down to the wire. Time for me to do the emails. But before we do that, I want to remind you one more time that this is just an entertainment section of the show. We do our best to answer your questions comprehensively, but, sometimes the information we get from you a little bit sketchy. So we always encourage you to contact a licensed professional before you make any decisions or do anything in that realm. They're going to give you peace of mind, help you sleep at night, and they're required as part of their licensing requirement to have what they call errors and omissions insurance. Same thing as malpractice insurance. It says that if they make a mistake, they pay the piper, not you. That's why you can sleep at night and not worry about those registered letters and things like that. Well, let's get right to it. As I said, my very first email comes from Nathan Casillas from Linden, New Jersey, asking about non-custodial parents. And he says, my ex-wife and I have a child who lives with her. If I pay most of our child's support, can I claim the dependency exemption? And can I also file as a head of household to get a lower tax rate? Nathan, unfortunately, you can claim the dependency exemption as a non-custodial parent if your wife signs Form 8332, Release of Claim to Exemption for a Child of Divorced or Separated Parents. But you cannot file as head of household because the child did not live with you for more than half the year. Now, your wife might be eligible, so see publication 501. That's exemptions, standard deductions, and finding information. Also, keep in mind that on that Form 8332, there's two boxes to check. One is giving you the exemption this year only. The other one, if she accidentally checks it, is giving you the exemption forever. So somebody better be careful when they're doing with that. Next email comes from Skylar Cisneros from Baltimore, Maryland, asking about conditional gifts. And Skylar writes, she says, if I give my fiance a valuable engagement ring, will it be subject to gift tax? Well, that's an interesting question, Skylar. Now, you can make gifts worth up to $13,000 to any individual annually and not owe gift tax. And if you marry in the year that you give the ring, it's also okay because spouses' gifts to each other are tax-free, and marital status at the end of the year or year end governs the entire full year for tax purposes. So if you got married at 11:59 p.m. on December the 31st, it says, as far as the government's concerned, you've been married all year. Now, if the ring's worth more than $13,000 and you don't marry in the year that you give it, state law is going to determine whether it's a gift. And in some states, an engagement ring is deemed a conditional gift that must be returned if no wedding actually occurs. So no federal gift tax actually applies. But in a state where a gift of the ring is deemed a completed gift that the recipient is entitled to keep, even if there is no marriage, then gift tax applies. Now, the gift tax is for the giver, not the receiver. So keep that in mind. Well, next email comes from Leo Correa from Danville, Virginia, asking about IRA contributions. And he writes, I made a $4,000 contribution to a traditional IRA last year. At year end, I got a bonus that made my income too high to deduct the contribution because I'm a participant in a qualified plan. Can I take it out of the IRA? Leo, you can withdraw the contribution and the earnings that accrued on it within the IRA without penalty if you do it by April the 15th or October the 15th with an extension. Now, we're past both of them for this year, so hopefully you're talking about next year. The withdrawal of the contribution will actually, let me take that back. April the 15th of next year or October 15th of next year, because we're talking about this year's income. Now, the withdrawal of the contribution will be tax-free while the earnings will be taxable income, but you can leave the contribution and earnings in the IRA by simply not deducting the contribution. Now, it will then continue to earn tax-deferred investment returns, and $4,000 of your future IRA withdrawals will be tax-free on a proportional basis. If you make a non-deductible contribution, record it by filing Form 8606. That's non-deductible IRAs. You'll be glad you did that. Well, last email comes from Jordan Davis from Bellflower, California, asking about innocent spouse, and writes, My husband has been cheating on his taxes. If I file a separate return, can I avoid being liable? Well, Jordan, for the current year, if you file as married filing separately, you'll owe tax only on your own separate return or income, not on your husband's income. However, if your husband cheated in past years and you filed joint returns for those years, you cannot switch to filing separately for those years. After filing a separate return, you can still switch to filing joint returns, but not the other way around. But you may still escape liability for your husband's taxes on your past year joint returns simply by claiming innocent spouse status. Now, go take a look at IRS publication 971. That's innocent spouse relief, and consult a tax pro. You'll be glad that you did that. Now, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, Roar 1776 Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and on 405 Media Radio Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Time. We're also on the Pundit Press, PNN Talk Radio, and SHR Media Radio with John Matthews and the Conservative Syndicate every Monday and Friday from 3:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Podomatic, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. So where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. On my next show, Sean LaFave continues his series, Geared for Wellness, and Suzette Mailer will be here. She's going to report on the environment, and I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.
Okay, everybody, I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I enjoyed producing it for you. Don't forget to join me again tomorrow for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. In the meantime, stay happy, stay safe, make everybody's life better because you're in it. And good night, everybody.